launched out on a course of vigorous action, the first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Therefore, we started upon a personal inventory that was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and a fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsaleable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we search out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure, being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestations. All right.
All right, great. Well, obviously hello everyone, Paul. Nice to see you. Mickey, our eternal greeter. That's very good. Thank you, JJ, for stepping in. Even though this is a strange little meeting, commitments are quite healthy in this new way of life. Just to be willing to take one and to show up has an effect. Yeah. So, yeah, this is page 64, just leaving step 3, because at the point of step 3, when you make a decision to turn your will and life over to the care of a higher power. Now, the idea of making a decision and just not turning your will and life over to the care of a higher power, to me, points to the problem, which is we're occupied already by a lower power. Yeah. And so at this moment, our quote unquote power of turning one's will and life over isn't available because we're neutralized. So something has us, let's call it the parasitical movement. And basically, we're in a dilemma of powerlessness. We're assuming we have a lot of choice, but basically we have very, very little or absolutely no choice when it comes to the drinking and using. So this lower power is in control at the moment, and we're making a decision to turn our will and lives over to the care of something other than this lower power, what's called a higher power. Yeah? So the parasite would be seen as the lower power, and it seems to have the dominant control at this moment. So we can't just turn our will and life over because it's not in our control, or it's not in our possession, so to speak. We've been possessed by something else. So that's how I see that part. And then step 4, we're going to roll into, which it says after you make this decision, it says we got to go into action. And here's the action steps, starting at 4 through 9. Those are the action steps of the program. The first 3 steps are, the first is to admit you're screwed, and that no human power could do it, recognizing that a power greater than human power is allowing you to be sober a day at a time, and then making a decision to turn your will and life over to the care of a higher power once the bondage of self is broken. Yeah. And so then we enter into the 4th step, which is the first action step. And this is to take an inventory. Now, usually it's presented as taking an inventory on our manifestations or defects of character or flaws. But I like to emphasize that it doesn't say that. It says being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. So what is our flaw, FLAW? We're prone to resentment. Well, resentment is a manifestation of self. So why are you calling it yours? Or I'm very anxious or in fear most of the time. That's a manifestation of self. Why are you calling it yours? And when I really want something, I have no interest in putting myself in other people's shoes, I'll walk all over them to get what I want. What is that but selfishness or self-seeking and frightened, which is obviously has the word self in both of the descriptions. So the AA, the people who wrote AA fluctuate. They go back to you are the problem, you manufacture your own misery, you are this and you are that. And then other times they fluctuate back to this is going to happen with no thought or effort on your part, so on and so forth. So I really feel like it's a download. And then what the download goes through is the old download. And sometimes the old download is emphasized and sometimes the new download is emphasized. Yeah. Because I humbly believe there's a download in the big book of AA. And I feel different about the 12 and 12, but the big book I feel was a download directly from a higher power, but it had to go through the previous download of self. Yes. And so these guys fluctuate from seeing self as a foreign thing or seeing you as the foreign thing. Yeah. So I like to emphasize the idea that the exact nature of the wrong is foreign to us because that's how it worked with me. Yeah. That's all I can do. All you can really do is share what worked and how it worked with me. And it was sudden. So it was memorable. Was I was reading this going into this page 64 from 63 to 64. And when I saw self, it meant a lot of things, but it never meant that as a foreign thing. It always meant something I am or I've got to get out of or whatever. But I never saw it quite as concretely as foreign till this one day. And when I saw self as foreign to me, and it is what has defeated me, the possibility of being free from it became available because I wasn't trying to be free as it anymore. And then whatever was doing this little event scanned my past and it showed me most of my behavior was self trying to get out of self. Yeah. And confronted with that, there was a liberation from owning shit that's not mine. Yeah. Concerning thoughts, concerning past behaviors, concerning feelings, because I truly believe the parasite manufactures an interpretation of our life and sells it to us every day. Basically, it plays God, really. And this is the most important aspect before the 12 steps is first, you got to quit playing God. It doesn't work. Well, I found the best way to quit playing God is to see I wasn't that which was playing God. Yeah. That's the only thing that worked. When I tried to quit playing God as that which was playing God, that's playing God. I couldn't get out of it. Yeah. Now, that didn't mean my life got better, but it meant I was still bound to this idea of self. And to me, that's the real relief is the freedom from the bondage of self. Yeah. It's a freedom that's conditional. Like, let's say your chain has 15 links. Now it has 18 links. So you have a little more room to move and to express, but you're still bound to something. Yeah. That stubborn fact, getting less and less bound and then more bound again isn't attractive to me. I don't feel. I feel you can be free from the bondage of self. You can't be sort of, I've got a longer chain, the leash isn't as tight as it used to be. That's fine and dandy. And if that's satisfying for you, far out. But to me, I wanted, I just didn't trust self. Yeah, I didn't. It had promised me a lot of stuff. And the shit that I found myself in, listening to its directions, scared the bejesus out of me when I finally got sober. And I just don't trust its information. I just don't. Yeah. And so that lack of trust moved my trust to the infinite. and it left the finite self. If you're identified as self, it won't leave the finite self. Yeah. So there's degrees of bondage of self, but most of them are still bound to self. I like the idea of freedom from the bondage of self. Yeah. So this whole idea that we're sharing came about by not hearing it really in a large community of San Francisco, where we have 600 meetings a week, probably more now. Incredible inspirational people and charismatic speakers and everything else. Yet I never heard this emphasis on the foreign nature of the exact nature of the wrong. I didn't hear it. So basically, I felt it was quite worthy to be shared. So here we are, and we're not only sharing it, we're offering a platform with all these people such as JJ today serving to keep providing this information to people. So, they may not understand it now, but they may understand it later. And it would be nice to have this platform later and now. Yeah. And of course, people are going to get it and you're going to be able to express it your own way to others. And I hope it sets a certain something off that will become an available idea in AA. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So thank you for that reading, and let's just go over it if you don't mind. So he starts with, but let's go back to that selfishness, self-centeredness that we think is the root of our troubles. If you're not the root, then what are you? If the story of you is not the root of all your glories and all your troubles, then who are you? Yeah. It says here, it doesn't mention any of us by name. It says selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. Maybe you think it's something else, but we're talking about a program of recovery, and the program of recovery came from this book. And so in this book, it's very clearly saying selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. I mean, the clues are obvious. The first two words start with self. I mean, I don't see how we missed this. I really don't. I mean, what is it? What happens when we read this? I think the parasite blocks a lot from us, a whole lot. And this is why hearing new understandings can be quite valuable, because the understandings that you may hear are being quite limited by what's directing or controlling the spigot of information. Yes. So the parasite has its own agenda that doesn't align with your agenda. It has its own agenda and it's overriding your agenda. This is part of the bondage of self. You're listening to a life depicted by something foreign to you, ad nauseum. Yeah. So that we think, I'm just started here and I'm going to go with this. This is on 62. Driven. Now, can we have a clear description right this second? Field driven and field driver. Are they the same? Driver, you seem to be not affected by the force that is being driven, which is the car. Yeah. Driven is you're completely affected the force that's moving you. Yeah. So it says very clearly here, driven does not say as a driver, you made a bad mistake and made a turn and you can basically correct that mistake. No, you're not the driver. So don't listen to it as the driver. Hear it as the driven. And you'll have a much better clarity around the situation. You will. Yeah. driven by 100 forms. And here we go again. The first three descriptions are self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. I mean, that's 5 selves in like 2 sentences. I haven't heard any one of your names or my name in these first 2 sentences. None. And don't tell me this means us in some weird cryptic way. It doesn't mean us. It means something other than us. It means self, whatever that means to you. Yeah, hopefully whatever it means to you is foreign to you. That's the only thing I have to offer. I didn't see anything else has worked. Yeah. You're not going to make it a service animal. You're not. It's not going to kumbaya with you. It has a drive that overrides your drive. It's just the way parasites roll usually. So selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably means every time, I think, yeah? If you investigate, every time you investigate, you're going to find the same thing. So without, sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self, yeah, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. This can describe a lot of our history, yeah? If you just take these 2 sentences, and usually it kicks up a memory of something, and then see the memory of that time the guy punched you in the face, seemingly without provocation, but then you looked into it and you were making a move on his girlfriend 30 minutes before, where when you tell this story, you forget that. And it's, oh, this guy just walked up to me and punched me in the face. But basically, you told the story, the decision to make a move knowing it was this guy's girlfriend, I would say a decision based on self, put you in that position to get punched in the face. Was that an incredibly rare phenomena, or was it the pattern of the thinking and the behavior? Only once. So basically, we've been making decisions based on self, and they set off a train of circumstances that sometimes, most of the time, brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. So who are we going to go blame? The other person, you know, my father, my mother, on and on and on and on. Yeah. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. I do not believe that. Our troubles, I think, are basically of the mental activity, of the mental's own making. Yes. I think the mental state is manufacturing fear through mental anxiety. It's making mountains out of molehills. It's doing a lot of shit, and you could call it all playing God, yeah? So it's playing God on our little fragile ass, and every time the effects are made, we hold them up. We're held by, we're in a ransom, basically, yeah? So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves. I would separate the our and selves. I would say it as 2 words. They arise out of our selves, yeah? The taking the self to be ours or me or mine is how we are in the bondage of self. That is what gives access to self, is taking ourselves to be it or owning it, yeah? So they arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Why is that? Wouldn't that be part of the disease, not a reaction to it? Part of the disease is you're completely obsessed with self and you don't think so. That's part of it. It's not like you're completely obsessed with self and then all these other possibilities. No, the obsession with self comes with the obscuring of the situation by self. Yeah. So that the host that is taken over by the parasite is the last one to know it. Isn't that incredible? Don't you think that is a strange phenomena, that you are incredibly obsessed with self, but you don't think so? You don't, do you believe the not thinking so is not part of self? Of course it is. Do you think that's a clear, authentic recognition? I don't think so. No, it's part of the problem. Yeah. We believe the problem is an action and then we are the reaction. No, the reaction is also the problem. It's self reacting to self. Don't you see it? When you're in that 24-day program and you're thinking you should leave, that's not you. That's self's reaction to self. Yeah. When you just came out of jail because you got loaded the night before and you're going to get loaded today, that reaction is not yours. That's a reaction of self to the consequences of a life run on self. Yes? The problem and you are synonymous. Yeah. So if by chance you never recognize the problem, you recognize consequences, right? I did not know what drove me to jail. I recognized I was in jail, but I had no idea how I actually got to jail. Yeah. So I'm blind to that. So my reaction to being in jail is coming from the same fucker that brought me to jail. Yeah. And you're apt to do the exact same thing that got you in jail 2 nights before when you get out. Where are you? You are driven in all of that situation. Yes? Where are you? See, the greatest way to be driven is to convince that which is driven that it's the driver. It's the most incredible domination of all. The person thinks it has power when it has no power. So it's not questioning shit. Yes? So the part of being the driven, you feel like you're the driver. And yet, when you end up in the same 3 parking spaces where millions of us end up, institution, jails, and death, the stubbornness of this delusion, which it just said, clouds the situation. Yeah. And we think if we get back in front of the, into the car behind the wheel, we'll end up at a different place. No. And you're completely surprised when you park again at institution, jails, and death. You don't understand. You're not the driver. Part of being driven is you believe you're the driver. That's how it works. Yeah. If you, uh, if you were driven and you saw the driver as foreign, a possibility would arise. I could be free from this driver. Yeah. But if the driven and the driver are the same, you just have to go to driving school. And you try to change the habits of the driver. Yet you're gonna be driven to the same places. You just may get there faster without as many accidents as before, but you'll end up at institution, jails, and death, inevitably, right? I'm the driven and the driver. No. Yeah. This is how it sets us up. So the consequences of the driven, who owns those consequences, the driver. Yes? But the driver is the driven. So the real driver goes unseen because you play both roles, don't you? You play the role of that which is driven, and you also play the role of the driver. How's that working for us? I can't believe where I drove to last night. Yeah, because you didn't drive. You were driven. I can't believe I keep doing the craziest freaking thing over and over again. Yes, because you're not the driver. You're the driven. Yeah. I'm going to go to the most expensive driving school, aka rehab, somewhere in Arizona for 40,000, and I'm going to learn how to drive better. Yes. I can be a good driver. I really believe it. Isn't that the major delusion? If I could only manage better, in this case, if I could only drive better, I wouldn't end up in all these places. And there's tons of driving schools. There are. Yeah. Tons of driving schools. And they all use AA, and AA doesn't get any fucking money from them. Tons of driving schools to make better drivers. You're not a driver, you're driven. Yeah, tell the truth about the driver, and I humbly believe you'll stop being driven by it. Yeah? Yes. You won't have to spend all this money on a super duper driving school. You'll stop being driven by it. Yeah. Good old simple AA may be more than enough. Seriously. Yeah. Put $2 in the basket. Increase, maybe put $3. Some of these places, it's costing you $100 for a minute or something to be there. It's freaking crazy. Yeah. They're all just, oh, you can be a good driver. Keep your eyes on the road. That's the problem. You're not seeing shit. You don't even know when you're going to hit a fucking giant catastrophe. Yeah. So, all right. Sorry. I'm going to stop in a little bit. I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So here. Oh, here we go. And they arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot. Though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything. Now, you can't get higher than that. Yeah. Above everything. What? Come on, tell me. Above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. All right. Yes. Must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. What makes that possible? They call it God. You can call it whatever you want, as long as it's not you. Yeah. So God makes that possible. And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. You're not going to get rid of self as self. I'm just humbly telling you. Yeah. And if it says we must or it kills us, and there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self, there says there's a possibility of entirely getting rid of self, though. Yeah. They're not saying there's no possibility to that. They say there may be no way. Where is this? And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. So basically, the spirit's condition is the way to get out of self. Why? Because the self of origin is in the mental condition. Yeah. And so what we're going to do is admit the failure of relying on the mental condition, and then do a way of life that shifts that into relying on the spiritual condition. Yeah, simple. Yeah. Not trying to rehab the failed system, but to move from the failed system to a new system. Has anything to do with the old system. It's a new one. That's why it says you're going to have a new happiness and a new freedom, a new attitude and a new outlook. Yes, it's not going to be a rehab or revamping the old system. It's admitting the failure of the old system, which is self-reliance, and doing these simple things that are going to provoke a migration of your faith in self to the faith in the infinite. Yeah, join us, because we're all in that migration. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's the first bird or the last bird. All of the birds are moving in one direction, right? You don't see the last bird going the other way. They're all moving, so it doesn't matter. That's the migration of interest. And we're losing interest in self and gaining interest in life and what we can contribute to it and all that. Yeah, we're all in it. We're all pointing the same way. We're the sail, it's all set, the wind's blowing it in one direction. Yeah. Now you may get, texts, a radio show from the old power. Yeah. But hopefully, if you start listening to the old power, do what we do. Call someone else, go to a meeting. Yes. Distract it. Do not follow it no matter what. And it will break. And then you'll be in this. There's a point in the migration where the gravity changes. Now you've broken out of the gravity of the old power, and now you're really surfing the gravity of the new power. Yeah, it's pulling you. You're not swimming towards it, it's pulling you with no thought or effort on your part. Yes? Hallelujah. All right, let me go. So it says here, baby, we must or it kills us. Wow, God makes that possible. And there often seems no way entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Many of us had and still are, many of us had and still have moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them, even though we would have liked to. That sounds like something running the show is not you, eh? You like to do it, but you can't do it. What's inhibiting that? Yeah. If a driver likes to go somewhere, but it can't go, means something is either wrong with the car or there's a mistake with the car and the driver. Yeah. And maybe the car thinks it's the driver when it's actually the driven. Wow. Okay. That would be helpful to get cleared up, eh? We're not even close to a self-driving car, but we actually are the self-driving car. Aren't we? If you look at it, we are the original self-driving car. Have you seen them when they're on the road and they stop for 20 minutes at a stop sign? Yeah, it sounds like us. So we're the original self-driving car. All the data of our fucking wrecked lives, I hope, is going up to some fucking mainframe where they'll be able to download this in the future and save a lot of people a lot of trouble. I hope. I hope it's open. But basically, the story of the first self-driving car ended up being a car driven by self. I'm a car? Yeah. You look like a Ford or a Chevy or an old model or a new model. It's like, yeah. So I want to acknowledge all of us as the first self-driving car. All right, so here we goes. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness. This is very important, literally. Neither neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. Yeah? Wow. That's a pretty good observation. That could save us a lot of time and trouble. We had to have God's help, or whatever you want to call it, Spirit's help. Yeah? So when does this program turn into a self-improvement program? It only happens in the head. The program is a reliance on a higher power program. That's what it is, I feel. Yeah. Now, you may find the higher power is always available at all times, right where you are, with no requirement to meet it. That may be called actually you, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. So this is the how and why of it. All right, we should open up. If any hands go up, I'm just going to keep talking. So I'm going to keep talking until I see a hand. So this is the how and why of it. The how and why of it. I mean, how conclusive can that be? That's very comprehensive, the how and why of it. What is it? First of all, what? First of all, doesn't say first of all we have to stop drinking. It doesn't really. It says first of all we had to quit playing God. It doesn't work. It didn't work. Yeah. Now my feeling is that which is playing God isn't you. And to me, that's what opened up a huge panoramic view. Because something continues to play God, but I've lost interest in its playing God. And I think I'm the bigger God than it, really. And when I lose interest in that which is playing God, its ability to play God gets severely limited. First of all, it's fired as the GPS, which is very awesome. I do not use its maps to get to where I want to go. I don't. So now it's basically has been left to critique and be like a Howard Cosell narrating the story of my life as a football game with a bias. Yeah. And incredible how valuable whatever we are is. It's made great value out of this playing God into a lot of comedy routines, which is awesome. So that which used to really used to be taken seriously is like a form of comedy now. It's pretty good. So God was going to be our, all right, it didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal, director, driver, yes, whatever you want to call it. He is the principal, we are his children, and we all know this, right? About the triumphant arch, and if you ever, the arch and the keystone is the one that holds the arch up, and this is the principle. But what's more important than this principle is to quit playing God, because it says that's first, yeah? Quit playing God, it doesn't work. Now, I tried to quit playing God as God, and it didn't work. Now, I just lost interest in that which is playing God because it's not me, that works. Yeah, that's what I'm sharing. Okay, let's go back to where we were. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We could have a year-long marathon of people sharing the remarkable things that followed when they sincerely took this position. It could be like a Jerry Lewis telethon times like 20. But no, you don't have to donate. You just call up and testimonials. Yeah, it would be for a year straight. It's amazing. Yeah. So we had a new employer. That implies there was an old employer. Don't you believe? If it didn't, it would have said we have an employer, like the first one we ever had. No, we have a new employer. So we were employed before without us knowing it. Yeah. Without us knowing it, we had a boss. Let's call it self. And we were being used by self, which means we were employed. Yeah. employ means to use. Yeah. So an older boss was using us without us knowing it. And now we have a new boss and we're going to know it's using us, which is really freaking cool. It really is. Yeah. We had a new employer being all powerful. Wow. So obviously the old employer didn't have that. Yeah. Because if they had the same conditions, what would be the difference of the new employer and the old employer? Yeah. So the new employer being all powerful, he provided what we needed. Wow. Not just on spiritual terms while you suffer blindly in life. No, provided what we needed. We need a lot of shit. Yeah. But he's very clear. He's not saying what we wanted. It's what we needed. Yeah. So you may not get that fourth house. Yeah. But you don't really need it, do you? No. So it's a want. And this is not the contract. The contract is you're going to get everything you want. That's not the contract. You're going to get what you need. And usually many of us can't discern the difference, can we? So this is one of the things, how you learn to face life successfully. You start seeing the difference between what I want and what I need. You do. I did anyway. So I'm no different than anyone here. So I did. You must have. So because a lot of people are acting out when they don't get what they want is as if they're not getting what they need. But if they look, they're getting what they need in most cases. Yeah. Yeah. So these words weren't just thrown in here. They have importance. So he provided what we needed. All right, this is the deal. You got to do 8,000 mea culpas every morning with a self-flagellating little whip. No. What do you have to do? Keep close to him. Wow, how can he be far from everywhere? So that first requirement's already met. How can he be far from what's everywhere? Yeah. And performed his work well. Do they describe what its work is? No. If you want a description, AA will give you one. Simple program. Yeah. It'll give you certain principles and stuff like that. How, treat yourself as you would like to be treated could work in these things. Yeah. But you perform his works well, you're going to be taken care of. Jesus Christ, what an incredible contract. Yeah. And it has power because no human power could get you sober, and you're sober now. So something freaking did. And for us, it was through the auspices of recovery program. Other people may get sober another way, but we've stayed sober through this program. Yeah. So his work well, established on such a footing. So you sincerely take it, then you get established, and the whole new effects occur. And what are they? Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves. To me, this is the pivotal movement, yeah, of recovery. When you become less interested in self, all stuff starts to really happen. So here, we became interested, less and less interested in ourselves and our little plans and designs. When you're obsessed with self, every plan and design seems big, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, sure. If you see something on your face that could be a pimple, it seems really fucking big, eh? Nobody throughout the day notices it because no one's actually looking at you with a 10 times magnification lens. They're just not. I go to Italy, I have felt different about how I look every 5 seconds. They say I look the same as I did 10 years ago. Yeah. What? I don't feel like I look the same that I did 5 seconds ago. What's the difference? They're not obsessed with Paul. As Jesus said, see the mote in your own eye, so you can say, see the pimple on your own face. So On such a landing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more, we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, have you stopped feeling that new power flow in? Have you felt, Mickey's been here many, many years. She has felt that power flow in for years. I would say it's an infinite amount of power. Yeah. Somebody has 66 years still feeling that new power flow in. I guess it's just a constant flow. Yeah. There we go. We began to lose our fear. Oh, yeah. We felt new power flow in as we enjoyed peace of mind. So peace of mind was available, but we couldn't enjoy it. Yeah. Now we're available to enjoy peace of mind. Peace of mind wasn't produced. Our availability has been produced. Yes. Peace of mind was available. We were just not capable, seemingly, of accessing it. And now we are. As we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence. Wow. So there's conscious of self or conscious of this presence. Yeah. They are sort of the two masters. You can't have two masters at the same time. When you lose interest in self, your consciousness of self or self-consciousness shifts, and now you're conscious of a presence. Yeah. Not conscious of your presence as a thing, but conscious of a presence as spirit. Yeah. That's cool. Then what else happens? Wow, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. Wow. We were reborn. Tell me what else does that, eh? Tell me what else. Oh, there, I think Christianity have you're reborn, but a 3-day, seminar. Usually isn't going to give you a whole new attitude and outlook, a whole new freedom and a new happiness. Yeah. And you're going to be reborn. Geez, that would cost a lot probably. Yeah. So I left the page. Next time we can do page 64, but how can you not love reading this stuff? Because you have been, everything they talk about has gone through you. The shit from the old employer and the grace from the new employer. Yeah. Aren't you driven at both points? Aren't you driven by spirit as you are driven by self? Where the hell are you anointed as the driver? Yeah. But the head acts as if it's the driver all day. Yeah. I would say that's playing God. In this case, God is the driver and you are the driven. But we think we're the driver and then we're driven by self. So, yeah. All right, open it up. Sorry I took so much time, but hey, you had your opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, we're open for questions now. If anyone has a question, now's the time.
Wow, it's great. No questions.
Rico is right here with his hand.
Miss Mickey, you always on top of things. I love you.
You got it, kiddo.
Good evening, family and friends. Welcome. Thank you for letting me be here with you. I send you love and life from my heart to yours. Oh, Paul, you got to stop hitting them home runs, man. I only came in for some doubles, man. You keep knocking them out the park, man. I don't know what to do about that. I love the analogies you were using. When you were talking about the new employer, I was going through life thinking I was self-employed.
You
And
were actually.
I was self-employed. I hired myself as the driver.
Yeah.
That's really clear. I would love for our new friends, newcomers, to be able to be exposed to that as they go into the book, because coming in new, I didn't get it like that, and I probably wouldn't have. But it's really clear now on that self thing, that self is totally not me, and it's not something I have to believe or not to believe or have conflict with. It's just something that is. It just is. It's that simple. That's it. That's all. And you can move to the wherever you got to move from there. But once you're there, there's a lot of, you travel lighter, and there's a lot of stuff that just gets like reduced. You know, the more we get rid of Rico, the better I am for that oneness. You know, when I'm full of Rico, I'm no good to anybody. But as we shrink Rico and grow God, or whatever it is, grow the infinite, I'm much better off. Much better off. I don't want to be self-employed anymore, man. You made that perfectly clear as to why. All I'm gonna keep doing is winding up in those 3 parking places, and I've been to them all, so I don't need to park no more. I don't even need to drive no more. I need a driver, you know. So I really appreciate. I'm glad you took that much time spelling it out like that, because it really sinks home. There's no way in the world I can have any questions about that unless I'm one of those guys or girls who just likes to hear themselves pontificate, because it's crystal clear as what's happening in terms of self, new employer, the driver. If the driver's driven, he's in a bad place. And I guess that was most of my life. I was driving, but I was being driven, but I didn't know I was being driven. I was bragging because I was the driver. So it's real cool, man. Thank you so much, man. Keep hitting them home runs, man. And I keep coming back. Thank you, Paul. And everybody have a beautiful day, unless you have other plans.
Thank you, Rico. And if they are, hopefully see them as little plans and designs to have a bad day. Yeah.
Mike has a question.
All right, Mike.
I have no questions, thank God.
Mike, my man from
Dude, that was the most special, amazing. Yeah, that whole trip was just incredible, man. Thanks. I never would have went out there if you hadn't said that when I was visiting you in Nevada. So
great.
I see Tom and I see Roman, I see some people from that. I'm very, very happy to have that experience. And I thank you, Rico, because I do try to present this when I'm taking people through the steps. And the easiest presentation, and the same thing I was asked by some of the greats early on, was, did you get loaded when you didn't want to? And I always thought I had made a choice to get loaded, but there was plenty of times. Obviously, there was this craving that took over, so there was no power, choice, or control there. But that doesn't mean that my head was still not telling me that this is the last one. This is the last one I'm going to take. What I really saw was in a sober state with 3.5 years, not wanting to get loaded, cherishing the amount of time that I had, showing up in a marriage, like really showing up and being there and doing this and doing that, but still driven by that thing and not even understanding why I wanted to get loaded, but it really had nothing to do with me. I don't even make the choice to get loaded. In fact, I don't believe I made the choice to even get sober. I think there's been some grace and separation, but my experience is every time there's grace and separation, if something more doesn't happen, if I don't see the truth about how I'm driven, then I succumb to this obsession again. So I think that was the way that was presented to me, and that's the way I presented to the people that I work with. Like, have you done this when you absolutely didn't want to? Have you made choices in sobriety that put your life in jeopardy that you really didn't want to make, but you were driven? Yeah, I was in a lot of fear about finances. Well, yeah, that's fine. But like, what were the mental states that really preceded that? You know, because it says in the book, we asked ourselves why we had this fear, because the emotion is the fear, right? Which also became very clear to me, that there were all these mental states that preceded the first drink or the first thought that was laced with self-seeking or selfishness or self-centeredness, any one of those self things. So I'm just so grateful that you had your experience, Paul, and you're here to share that, because I've had a deeper experience with seeing some truths around what I still own, in my life, is what I think is me, whether it's a narrative of my childhood, whether it's a health issue or whatever. And I don't know, I feel like that's getting relinquished without me doing anything about it. Like I don't know. There's not, like, this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm still jet lagged and my throat's kind of itchy. And you know what? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stay in bed. And like my feet hit the ground, and I went out to the kitchen, made some coffee, and took the dog out. It's like, oh, I feel pretty good. Go to the gym, come back, gave the dog a walk. Like, with no thought or effort, those things happened. The thought or effort started happening when I was questioning everything about how the day was going to be. And then I just kind of negated that whole fucking stream of thought and just got up and the feet started moving. And that is not of my doing. It really isn't. It's just, and she knows I'm going to call her out again. Kathleen, we we're learning and we don't even know we're learning means that it's trickling in at a deeper level, and something is happening where this action figure is definitely being moved, is being moved by something that goes way above and beyond anything that I can produce out of self. And that's just the bottom line. And it blows me away, man, because I got stuck in and out of this program for 20 plus years. And every time I came back, I was the guy that went to all these different rehabs, the nice rehab, or even this is a bad rehab. This is super low bottoms. I don't ever want to come back here again. So this time it's really going to be different, but always using the same mechanism to get the desired results, and obviously getting loaded over and over. So yeah, you broke that shit down, homie. And I appreciate you. We had fun out there, and I never found another gelato place that was as good as the last place I had. And I'm in this car with you. So thanks, man.
You're welcome. Anyone else? JJ?
I'm not seeing anything, I don't think.
Oh, good. Well, I can start saying goodbye. Mike, yeah, it was
Hi, can I share?
Eh?
Hi, I'm No. Oh, wait, hold on, sorry. Um, Hi, thank you so much. Send bitch slap. Oh my God, love that. Um, I I'm so grateful that I came to this meeting today. It made me realize that I haven't been going to that many meetings, and that I haven't been helping people, and that I've been in a lot of self. And I mean, just reading that part, like just that part alone on that page that you read is so powerful. And I am having a new experience, um, with this idea of self, like seeing how much like myself shows up through my thoughts, like through my thinking. And you know, there's a part where you read that said, we don't, we often, I can't remember, but it's like we often don't we can't entirely get rid of self or something like that. But then you made a comment about but it is possible, or maybe I misheard.
Yeah.
I guess my question is not only like what did you mean by that, but like what's your experience been with that, and like how, I don't know if that question made sense.
No, it does, because it says it's not going to be possible, but God makes it possible. Yeah. So the whole idea of AA, in my view, is they found that it wasn't going to be based on human power. It was going to be based on spirit, that we would recover and stay recovered. Yeah. And so I think that sentence is saying it very clearly, that there would be no way for us to be rid of self without the help of this higher power. Yeah. Because without that help of the higher power, we're in the realm of the mental, which would be self trying to get out of self. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
look at what they describe as the problem, they say the problem resides in the mind. Yeah. So
Mm.
a lot of people are relying on the mind to get out of mind, or self can't get out of self. Yes. And the revolutionary idea of AA was that we weren't going to seek a solution through our human power, but find a solution in the spirit. Yeah. And I think that sentence was saying it. We have to be rid of this self-centeredness, but we can't do it on our own. But this other power makes it possible to live a day at a time, rid of self. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you I mean, I guess there's different roads to this higher power, I suppose. Um 'Cause I don't know, sometimes I feel like I mean, I pray, I get on my knees, I pray, I do have like I do feel like I have like a real relationship with my higher power, and
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful experience I've had in like my whole life since like as of recent. But I know, but I still get back to self. Like self is still so powerful and like
Okay,
um
honey. You're on the winning side. And so when it's battling you, it tells you you already lost, but your faith in that is being moved to the winning side. Yeah. So when that stuff comes up, we have all these skillful means to deal with it. You can call someone in the program, go to a meeting. Yes. See what you can do for someone else. There's all these ways to minimize the effect of that mental storm. Yeah. And then more clear skies will appear. Yeah.
okay,
That's how it
thank
works.
you.
Yeah. So just rely on the community. If you don't have a sponsor, it's very helpful to have one so that you start having a relationship with that person and be willing to, and have trust so you can share stuff. And where everyone is here, uh, available to help others stay sober today. Yeah, that's the point in one level. And then that strength of the spirit is going to fortify as you go along, because just like they say, the problem progresses, so does the solution. See, I believe recovery progresses. It's
Thank you. I really love that you said that because it's kind of like going back to the basics. It's like I think I'm just trying to make it a big old like I need the answer to be some big ass like this is what you need to do. And it's like, no, girl, you just literally need to go help someone, you know, go find a newcomer, go be of use. And I don't know, thank you so much because I haven't been to a meeting in a while and I'm just like, oh yeah, girl, you're in AA, like this is what we do, you know. So
well,
anyways,
that's
thank you
what
so much.
you've said. Now you haven't been to a meeting for a while, so make that a thing to do today. Go to a meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is easy. Yeah. Thank you, hon. Thank you for sharing. Get back to basics. Yeah. This is the beauty of once you start having a spiritual condition, you see that, let's say you find that 5 meetings a week work. But if you go less than 5 meetings, something that was blunted is sharp again. So now you just increase the meetings and you'll find a groove that works to keep a certain condition in place while this operation continues. Yeah, which is losing interest in self and gain interest in the higher power. Yeah. So I used the serenity prayer a lot in the beginning. I used a lot of things that I don't use anymore at the moment, but I used it a lot. And one of the things I used is the selfishness, self-centeredness was so strong in me that anytime anything good happened, I just felt I deserved more. And I just started doing a thing when something good happened, I would say, thank you, God, that's more than enough. And then I used that for a year or two. And that was very helpful because I started to realize the big problems and put them on display for the program to work on them, really. Yeah. And it did. Yes. So, yep, go to a meeting and put a chair up or something. Yes. All right. Anyone else, or we'll start saying goodbye. Axel,
Not,
what?
I wasn't seeing any, but Axel?
Oh, Axel, come on in, Axel. I just saw your ass a couple of days ago, live.
Yes, I'm okay at home. Everything is answered. I'm happy.
Oh, that's great, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's answer. Let's put a period on that one. Pain. Your head says, I beg to differ. Yeah. See what faith in the head has done for you or to you.
Yeah.
What faith in the head has done to you. And then see what faith in the spirit does for you and through you. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I feel it.
Is the main energetic movement. Yeah. It is what drives us. Now, faith in self allows self to be the driver and we are the driven. Self and spirit allows spirit to be the driver and we are the driven. Both cases, we are the driven. It's what drives us is the important idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell the truth and admit that your life has been driven by the finite self, and now you're willing to be driven by the infinite. That's basically it. Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, thank you, bro. It's very nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you. Stuff. Yeah. We'll see each other again live sooner or later. Mickey,
Yes.
Mickey, as always. John from Florida. Hey, John, how are you?
Good, Paul. Welcome back, buddy. Good to
Yeah,
hear.
good. Albert R. Nice to see Albert. He's doing something there. Yeah. Walter in the Netherlands. Nice to see you. Jules on vocals. Yes, Jules. I'm going to listen to that. I saw it, but I've been active all day with people for the last 3 weeks. I hope, yes, I will get into looking at the stuff today.
Very George Harrison,
Oh, George Harrison. Great. Yep.
the spiritual Beatle. Good job.
Yeah,
Glad
yeah.
I'm safe.
Nice to see you, honey. Jules on vocals. I love the title. Rico Cruz. Very nice, bro. Yes. There she is, Barbara and Roman. The dynamic duo. Running in Pescara. Nice to see you guys. It was such a pleasure doing nothing with all of us. Yeah. 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 JJ, thank you for stepping up. I appreciate it. And yes.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I hope it went over okay.
Oh, it's went over fine, bro.
All right.
Don't worry, yeah.
Thanks.
Jeff Penfield, biking down in Southern Cal. Tomas, I thank you, Tomas, for the lovely donation and same thing with Axel and everyone. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet Tomas. He was in Italy. He was in the middle epic. There was the early Martin, and then yes, we had a whole. It seemed like 300 years of stuff. Yeah. Nice to see you, bro. Paul D. Nice, hey, Kerry, driving around. Nice to see you, Kerry.
Hey, I got a quick share.
Yeah.
I'm just at the transfer station, AKA the dump. And my friend Carol, we had a lot of stuff stored in the tent. And she had books and books. And while you were talking, I was just throwing this, they all got wet, a lot of them. And I was throwing a Muji book away. And I thought it was kind of cool just to say goodbye to Muji for now. But he got wet and go in the dump. But that's all I got.
That's good. He's been introduced to dog shit awareness finally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. You were the one, bro. Good. We got Jay. Nice to see Jay. A. Lebowski. Martin. Oh, Martin. Yes. He was at the beginning of the epic in Pescara. Nice to see you, Martin.
Down here. Anyway.
Lebowski, yes. Nice to see you, bro. I'm going to try to become the second Gandalf the Grey. The White, I mean. I'm getting there.
You got that Gandalf energy going already. So.
I need a staff.
Yeah, you do. Carrie's working on one.
I'm
sure.
gonna need a cane, but I'll call the staff. Yes.
A magic walker.
No. Says yes to recovery. That's good. Kimia. Kathleen from Pennsylvania, not Delaware. Jason. Phone numbers Rick Rowe in Toronto. Stephanie F. Mel UK. Hey, thank you so much for the space. And Joseph, I missed them there in France. Yeah, thank you, Mike M, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see some of you Saturday. The regular schedule is on, and yeah, what a pleasure to sit with all of you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. JJ, thank you for your love and service, man.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Paul.
thank you guys. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mucho gusto. No.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone. Great share, Rico.
Thanks, everybody.
Mickey, I don't care what they say about you. I love you, Mickey.
Thank you.
Okay.